Hi, this is Frederick from the techno label Detroit Berlin, and today another module, and this module is one of my very first Eurorack modules from Doepfer, one of my all-time very first Eurorack modules. I'm talking about the A-143-4, the quad voltage controlled LFO/VCO. So it's an LFO that can be put in VCO mode. It doesn't track volt per octave that well, but still it can be played as a VCO, whether it's controlled by a keyboard or some other sources of control voltages. That's up to the user. It's a pretty complex LFO/VCO, a quad, so 4 of them. It also has a mix, a sum output, and yeah, I would say let's jump right into the module. The sounds you heard in the beginning of this video were from the module being in VCO mode, so it can create tones and it has 2 wave shapes, so it's a little bit more limited as a VCO or LFO, but the lack in these different wave shapes is easily balanced by the complexity and the vast majority of applications you can do with this quad LFO/VCO. Let's take a look at what this module does. So let me remove all these cables that we can start really fresh like this, and let's just put it in LFO mode, turn all the knobs in their, I would say, default position, but just I'll turn them all the way down so I can go over the controls and show you what does what, and what you can do with this module. So you've got the CV inputs, you got 2 CV inputs for every channel, so you got A, B, C and D. These are the 4 channels, and then you have the common channel, and what this means is that I would say the 5th channel will actually control all these 4 LFO/VCOs at the same time. So if you put a control voltage in the common one, then it will control all 4 of them. And also the 5th channel, the outs, is actually the sum output from the different outputs from A, B, C and D. So when A goes into positive and B goes in another rate in a negative, then you got a complex wave shape, and that's actually how this works. You sum all these voices and you got a really complex tune. So CV input 1, all these CV inputs, they're not attenuated, so everything that goes in there will actually control the frequency. The second knob is a frequency, the first knob is the attenuator, and the attenuator attenuates the CV input number 2. So if you plug something in there and it is all the way down, turned all the way down, then it won't have any effect on the frequency of the LFO/VCO. If you turn the control voltage attenuator all the way up, or 50% or whatever, then it will pass through the signal, and that way you can tune the vastness of how it will affect the frequency modulation. If you don't plug anything in there, it actually kind of creates a negative voltage, because if you put it all the way up, it will slow down the LFO, or it will pitch down the VCO, or even go into LFO mode. That's the ins and the knobs. These are the common knobs, just the same like the common inputs. It controls everything. So when you turn this frequency knob all the way up, all the frequencies react, and that's very handy when you got them tuned to each other. Then you can just, by tuning one knob, tune them in a different pitch. The outputs, also plain simple. Got a square output and you have a triangle output. You can choose the sum output, and that's just the sum of the square and the sum of the triangle. Then you got these inputs. They're reset and directional inputs, and what this means is if you send the signal to the reset / directional input, then it will reset the LFO, and with the directional input you can change it via jumpers on the back of the PCB, but if it's active, then I would say in LFO mode it will be more apparent to notice it when your wave shape is like going up and then going down, and it resets and it's configured in up position. Then when it resets, then it will directly go up, and you got the reset and the direction. What this means, the direction, if you feed it a trigger, then the direction will change if the jumper on the back is set to both. You can also put the jumper on up or down, and then if it's going down and it gets reset and the jumper is set to up, then it will change the direction to up. Of course, if it's set to down and it's going down, it will just reset and go down again. So that's what this does, and the fourth channel has a separate input for both resets and direction. The three first channels, they're actually combined, so you can configure it with the jumpers in the back. There are quite a few jumpers. You can also, with the jumpers on the back of the module, select the range. So you can even go to a lower range or a higher range if you set the jumpers that way. My setup is for every channel it's slightly different, so it will react a little bit different, and that creates a little bit more complexity. I must say it's a pretty simple module that can do complex things, and I like it. I don't use it all that often, but if I need a simple LFO or a tone, then I can use this module. It's not super cheap, but you're getting 4 LFOs / VCOs, and it has a sum output. Now I will go into some examples right in a bit. What I really like to do with this module is combine it with the matrix mixer, which can be put in unipolar or bipolar position, so that it goes from 0 to 10, or from -5 to 0 and to +5. But if I send it to that matrix mixer, I can attenuate the LFOs, I can combine them, and this, apart from being an LFO and VCO, I think it's a real interesting source of randomness, because the sum output Plus you can actually also LFO the second channel and then LFO something with something else and then use an oscillator, and that way you can create some extremely complex modulations or sound tones. You can really go berserk with this module. It does some really unpredictable and very interesting stuff. And when you interconnect some things with only one knob, you change everything. So it's very unpredictable, but it can lead to, yeah, I would say craziness. Maybe that's the right word. Also, with the matrix mixer combined, you can actually tone it down a little bit so it's not too overly exaggerated, all these crazy modulations. I would say let's jump right to the module and let's hear some sounds. Maybe I'll just take the matriarch, the Moog matriarch, and let's modulate some things. I programmed quickly a simple sequence. Okay, and now I will be, let's see, modulating it. Let's take the pitch in. Right away I'm going to use the matrix mixer because I want to actually attenuate it. It creates volts on the first channel, so I just discovered something I didn't know already, so that's always fun. I'll do an episode on the matrix mixer in the near future. Turn the frequency up. And then it's just a rising and falling, triangular wave. Let's combine it with the square wave. It gives another flavor. Let's maybe modulate this LFO with another. And let's take the CV in number 2 so I can attenuate it right here. Now I'm tweaking the lower knob to get it running faster, all these ones. So I get this like almost rhythmical modulation, which is pretty interesting, a little bit random, but still I'm not doing that much. But it gets interesting when I modulate stuff that's modulating other stuff. And I think that's what a modular system all about. Modulating modulators that modulate things. If you agree, thumbs up. If you don't, please leave a comment in the comment section down below. Okay. Let's see if I can, yeah, maybe do one more. And why not go to the pitch? Why not go to the cutoff from the matriarch? Why not? So let's choose another one. Put this here. Now it sounds pretty random, but it gets repetitive a little bit wibbly wobbly, but I often make wibbly wobbly sounds. I don't know what to say. Sometimes they're nice, sometimes they're to get seasick. Let's maybe, and now it's going to get real complex. Let's take the sum output, so all the signals are combined, and then send it to another one, maybe even the common one. So now it's modulating itself, and now it's going to go in every direction possible, I think. What would it do when I put it in VCO mode, one of the channels? Not that much. Does sound interesting though. Maybe change pitch. When I put it in bipolar mode to go plus or minus, you can really do weird stuff with it. And the range is really big, so it goes into the inaudible at times, and it really goes way up there at times. And it really generates like these out of this world sounds, which I think are pretty interesting. Not really that musical, but with the reset and the directional triggers, then I think I can put it more like in time. So let's see if I can actually, maybe with a mode going to different, like this. Let's see if I can actually make some sense out of the rhythmical stuff. So now it's pretty contained, I would say. Not the best sound, but it's pretty contained because these are pretty close to zero, so it only is affecting the pitch of the matriarch by a small amount. So it's getting repetitive, and it's actually good in a musical sense, I would say. Maybe I can, let's see, have like a second mix going to another oscillator. Let's bring in that oscillator. And that makes a cool sound. Now I've got two oscillators from the matriarch. And it's doing something good. Okay, nice. Let's continue with modulating stuff. It's getting interesting. We're getting into soundscape territory. Really aggressive stuff. Not for the faint-eared. If that's... no, that's nothing. Just not for the faint of heart. Now it's getting really interesting, and I actually like how this is sounding and acting. And you notice that it then switches because everything is modulating each other and it gets really unpredictable, but I think in a cool way. So if you agreed, thumbs up. I think this will pretty much conclude this episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode. The A-143-4, the quad VCLFO / VCO, is a very interesting module. It's simple at the base, but like you experienced now, like you've seen, it can do pretty intense stuff, especially when you start interpatching the module itself and combining it with another module like the matrix mixer, which gives you that control into taming the quad VCLFO / VCO. I'll put in the description down below all modules in my system and also a link, an affiliate link to this module. So if you want to give it a try, if you want to buy a module like that, you can always use that link. It won't cost you any more than it would cost you otherwise, but the channel gets a little bit support. So in the future I will do many more modules from Doepfer and maybe some other manufacturers. So I would like to thank you for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.